Financielle is founded by sisters Holly Holland and Laura Pomfret, two non-tech girls in a fintech world who both gave up corporate life to put financial wellness on the agenda. Creating a tool to help mainly females understand their money, get excited about it, and operate their own wealth like a mini business and truly be the CEO of their own life. Listen to their journey from Instagram page to ebook to app, through bootstrapping and then seed investment. How taking one job at a time and going all in has created a ladder to success. I think first of all, let's start at the beginning. You are two non-tech girls in a tech world and really two non-finance girls in a finance world. So I want to kind of ask, what were you both doing before you started Financielle?
I was a lawyer. I was an in-house lawyer at a travel company. I started off as a lawyer in the city and then moved in-house and joined a wonderful business up here in Manchester.
I started my career at Manchester United in the global sponsorship team, so working with big brands like Nike and Chevrolet, really like working with really experiential creative stuff. So I'm very much into that marketing mindset. Like Laura said, no tech experience whatsoever. And then Laura poached me to go and work for the travel company that she worked for. There wasn't currently a partnerships team or sponsorship team there, so I helped set that up in the early days and worked there for a few years. And then I'm sure we'll come on to it, but when Financielle started, it was Laura's kind of hobby and brainchild when she was on maternity leave with her middle child, Albie. And then when COVID hit, loads of people came to Laura for help on her social channels. She started to build this community. And then the more we talked about it and the more we saw people needed help, we really had a solution that helped people. I say we, Laura created it. And then she was like, you could help me do this. Do you want to do it? And I think just at that time, COVID, everything was up in the air. I think I was actually on furlough.
And you'd used the product.
So I was like the first customer, if you like, from
Testing.
Laura. I was like the second customer, if you like.
It
worked.
Yeah.
And I was like, actually, yes, this could help people. And like Laura said, the tech thing didn't scare us. I suppose we were naive in a good way. It was a good thing. If we knew what the road ahead, we might not have done it.
It was child number one, where I had to get my money shit together.
Yeah.
So that was when I was 23 and I was pregnant with Ava. And I look back now and God, that feels young. And lots of other people have children earlier, I know. And, I see Gen Zs living their best life and going, oh, I like kind of never did that. I had to go what felt like quite quickly, actually. I know people have children younger, but I was a trainee lawyer. Yeah. And so prior to falling pregnant with Ava, I was just pretty normal. I spent everything I earned. If you've not really been taught how to manage it, or if you've not got a desperation moment, you just spend. And I would have just carried on that path. I even opted out of my pension because I felt that, I'll do it when I earn more money. Now that I know so much about finance, I know that was the worst possible compound decision. I'm sure Joel will be rolling his eyes at the fact that I did that, and he'll know his numbers and know that I shouldn't have done that. But when I fell pregnant, I suddenly was like, oh, okay, so I've got to be responsible for something else. Really privileged position that I had parents that could house me and I didn't have to, pay for everything on my own. So I was very, very lucky. This wasn't a poverty cry, but I was like, I have nothing to show for myself. I've had a good wage for 2 years. I was like, what's the future for me? Like, what's the plan? This is going to be hard because I was a single parent. And that's when it started. And if you think about, I guess my skill set as a lawyer was take something complicated, try and work out what it means, and make it simple for the client. So that was my skill set. My skill set wasn't like really, really intricate detail. I'm a much bigger picture person, but I like simplifying things. And so I will fight to understand something. I will ask a question, keep going until I'm not bothered about looking like I'm the stupid person in the room. I will say, I'm sorry, I don't understand that. To the point where I did this with finance. And I was like, why is this so complicated? Why is it so overwhelming? And it's because loads of people have a view on it. Everyone handles money. It's a bit like food or fitness. Everyone's got a perspective. So it's really hard to find what you think's the right thing. And I just thought, this is overwhelming. I need to work out one thing at a time. And I went on a 10-year journey and ended up, paying off £25,000 worth of debt. I paid off a Range Rover. people always asked me about managing money because they could see I was just very calm with it. So this isn't about someone going, oh, you drive a Ferrari, tell me about money.
Yeah.
People just saw that I didn't get overwhelmed. I always had a plan. I knew where a bonus was going. Could I afford a nice holiday, but I talked about investments. And so people do ask questions. And so on mat leave with number 2, we just sold the business that I worked for. It went through an MBO, and I was, in fact, the night before I gave birth, I was still on this deal.
Yeah.
So I was doing 18-hour days out of choice, by the way. My poor employer was like, please go home and stop working. But that was just how I worked. To then doing nothing, because when you've got a newborn, it doesn't do anything. So other than like sleep, I was like, what can you do? So social media was an outlet for me to kind of share my knowledge. So it was in 2018 that I spent mat leave, like 9 months on Instagram, sharing what I thought about money. So that's where Financielle started.
How did you come up with the name? Because it's genius.
Well, I actually got the Twitter handle in 2016. So this is just a message to people that if there's a business idea that's nagging at you, like, don't be afraid to act on it, because I couldn't believe that I'd got the Twitter handle in 2016 and I only started the page in 2018. That's 2 years of value that I could have been giving to people. And I could have been, that's 2 more years of failure, like making mistakes and working out what you're doing. We're 2 years behind on our journey because I waited. And it was because I worried about what people would think.
Were you purely sharing from a point of expression? Was it at that point when you started on Instagram, you thought you were going to make it a business? Or was it like, I know all this, I just want to, it's like when you're excited about something new, you want to talk about it. Was it mainly that?
It was just for sharing. It definitely wasn't a business. I think I kept looking for that community of people that wanted to take control of their money but didn't want to be too frugal. Wanted to be like independent women, actually, because so much from a female perspective is being dependent on someone else traditionally, that there's not a lot, you can only be what you can see. And so there wasn't that. So I think I was kind of filling a vacuum or a void that I didn't see fulfilling myself. But no, my plan was to work. I wanted to be a director of a business. I wanted to work in corporate. I wanted to be paid really well. I wanted to use my money and invest it. I definitely wanted to diversify and grow investments and stuff. So I didn't want to just get a regular job. But I never wanted to own a business.
The community that Laura had built was extremely engaged. Instagram at that time, it was all about hashtags and finding new people, and Laura was started to build that community out. And then suddenly they felt like when COVID hit, there was an influx of these communities starting to build on Instagram. And I think you kind of rode that wave early on. But like Laura said, I think putting her face was the game changer, because it made it more human. Like
vulnerable.
With money, people are looking, the type of people that provide content for money are things like banks. People don't really have much trust in banks anymore, especially females. They always feel white, pale, male, stale. Like that's how people refer to, unfortunately, like financial institutions. So
take us back to 2020, Holly. So how did we start to think, oh, this could be a business? Because obviously you two must have been talking. And
I think Laura's community started to grow, and my expertise is in, I suppose, growing things and making money from them and getting sponsors on board. So Laura was like, I really want to grow this product. I know it's helping people. We were getting really good quality feedback from people that their lives have been changed. So Laura started to give the
playbook. So actually,
Laura had created a playbook. So all the 10 years of money journey that Laura had, she decided that she needed to codify it, because the world exploded when COVID happened, and you were inundated with people asking for questions, asking for help. And Laura realised that she needed to be able to scale it. So Laura would be on Instagram at night after working 18 hours a day trying to get people home from wherever they were in the world and refund their money or whatever it might be. She was on a big project with the COVID thing, and she was like, I can't, this isn't manageable. What can we do? So she codified it and created the playbook, which is a step-by-step guide to help people.
And the playbook, when you say codify, originally was a PDF with an Excel spreadsheet, right? So you created, which we're going to talk about the strategy, if you like, shortly. But so you wrote everything you knew into an ebook. You also had a spreadsheet with it, and you put it online, and you were offering it for free at first, weren't you? And it wasn't getting that many downloads, is that right?
Oh, we didn't. People weren't really doing it.
People like, this is awesome, thank you, and then you'd never hear from them again. Only a couple of people that obviously really needed to get the shit together at that time. There was no support from the government. It was if you can really think back, it was when everyone, you as a business owner, were probably going, especially events, what the fuck am I going to do?
Yeah.
It was around that time.
April.
So a couple of really keen people that really needed to get the shit together, like beauty business owners, people that were supposed to be going through NHS IVF or whatever it might be, were like, oh my God, like the world's ending. So they went and did it, and the feedback that we got from them was incredible. You know, you can go and do a fitness journey and do a run.
Yeah.
Watch YouTube videos to get fit, how many people actually do it. But if you hand over money to a personal trainer or a group class gym or whatever it might be, that accountability's there.
Yeah,
Like, we've all done it. We all know. Same with eating healthy. How many people, when they go to a nutritionist or a Slimming World, whatever it might be, and hand that money over, it's just placing that accountability.
And actually, when you learn this in business, is valuing your product. So by giving it away for free, because it was so good and like so helpful, we kind of devalued it. If you give away something for free, people don't really think it's that valuable. We just picked a random price, I think 50 quid. We sold 600-700 in about 3-4 months. Bear in mind, like, this wasn't our business then, so it was still meant to just help people. But because we could go, right, okay, there you go away and do that. There you go away and do that. And then we were getting feedback on that. If you think back to when I said I worked in product, the big thing, there's 2 things that can help you know whether something's good for. This is business idea validation. So if you've got a business idea out there, you can get feedback and say, do you think this is good? Now, if you ask your mum, don't, because she's going to say yes. Find your customer, give them the product, and ask them if it's useful. Then get them to pay for it, because they're 2 different things. Anyone can give, like, I'll say, tell anyone, oh, it's amazing, like, well done. Would you buy it? No, I wouldn't buy it. If you can find the right person that will pay the right price for your product, that's validation. So someone handing, that probably, I can't do the maths, like, ironically, I'm not very good at maths. But we made thousands of pounds between that and some sponsorship deals that Holly managed to negotiate with some big finance brands. So that's when you go, there's a business in this. We were never going to leave our jobs to build a small business. We were part of a big business. Credit to business owners, it is hard. We didn't want to just be self-employed or just work from ourselves. We didn't want that stress. But actually, when you thought, people are handing over money for this, they're telling us it's changing their lives, they're telling their friends, they're coming, there's no better business validation. And so that's when we were like, okay, fuck, we're going to have to do it because no one else is doing it. So it's our turn, let's have a go.
So you've got the Instagram page, you do the playbook, that starts selling quite a few hundred. Is that still for sale now, the book? Can people still?
No, because we put it in the app behind the paywall.
Right, okay, right, fine. So you did
Someone
the book.
accidentally bought one, I think, not that long ago. And I was like,
do it all the time.
Who found that link? Like,
we need to tidy up after ourselves. Leaving a technical trail.
I was like, actually, we refunded them. I was like, that's really expensive. Come and pay this. Join our app, and we'll give it you money back.
And so that was out there, and then you mentioned that you start. So at this point, the book's out there. Is that when you both decided, right, this is going to be a business? And then you mentioned sponsorship. So what was the next step after that?
So before the app, because that was probably next, it was a sponsorship strategy at first, because Holly, it was just her skill set, and she could see the value that our brand was going to give to other brands.
Yeah, I think when you look, again, going back to who speaks to people about finance, and not many people do it or do it well. We always say personal finance is 90% personal, 10% finance.
Yeah.
And I think some brands kind of liked what we were doing, speaking directly about money, because they couldn't. They're financially regulated. They've got rules that they need to follow. They've got a tone of voice. They have to be that position of authority if they're taking money off people. And it's just a really complicated web of things that don't work very well in finance. And we just kind of did it. Our content that we created, we were really creative with like reels. Finance content can be really stiff and boring, and I think we just were like, this is stupid. Like, let's do some funny reels. Let's make money personal. And I think the brands lent into that, and they liked that we built a community. A lot of fintech brands will say that they've got community, whereas actually they've just got a forum of people asking their users, do they like the functionality within the app? Not what you're really worried about and how can we help you? So I think we just created relationships with these brands, and we were a bit ballsy. We were like, do you want to come and work with us because we've built this community of X and we can deliver Y?
Small if you think about it.
We were
Holly's
really
like contacting
small.
the chief marketing officer of PensionBee, who had just listed on the stock exchange, and he's like, oh my God, I love you guys. When I think back about how small we were, why did he take a call with us?
I think COVID really helped us as well, because COVID allowed us to open so many doors. We could never have just rocked up at PensionBee's office in London and been like, come have a meeting with you. Who are you? Whereas we started to build this community, like Laura said, got a bit ballsy and just made our connections. We'd never go to the
slid into the DM.
Yeah.
You just gotta work it, and like it just allowed you to speak to people that you never would have had the opportunity to. Jumping on a 10-minute Zoom call that arguably ended up being an hour because they were just like, tell me more. They just loved this kind of feedback that we're getting from the community.
But if you think about business and bringing it back to that, what we realised was that's the way that influencers would make money. So, you know, I'm sure Molly May is next level in terms of like, you know, the BeautyWorks deals and the other deals. But that's not a business. That's a self-employed person that generates revenue through sponsorship. But I firmly believe, and we knew at that time, you cannot build a business on the back of sponsorship. You know, we had a couple of deals with brands, and then a couple of them pulled them. And it reminded me of, you know, a business, the travel business we worked in. They were like a wonderful travel agency and tour operator. When you're a travel agent, you're reliant on someone else giving you commission, and that commission one day might be 10%, and then they might have a board meeting at that company and go, okay, we're reducing it to 5%. So for the same amount of work, your revenue halves. And they decide to become a tour operator as well, because that's when you're a tour operator, you own the product. So then you can charge you can build whatever margin you want in. So there was a difference between having a commission, which is based on what someone else says it is, and they set the price, versus you setting the price and you setting the margin. So I always remember, you know, the director at the business saying you have to be in control of your own product. And so it's
like a stark reminder, wasn't it? The day that budget got pulled, Laura was like, right, we're changing tactic because we need to be in control of our product. And it was just a nice to have then.
A good light bulb moment really to go. It was to have a 10 grand worth of revenue pulled was probably one of the best things that could have happened.
When we were only generating probably like triple that in the first like 6 months or whatever. It was a big chunk.
So you've got the book, you've got the sponsorship, and then you started to basically decide that we're going to build the book into an app. And we go back to now the fact that you're not in a tech world, apart from your kind of dealings with digital product within the travel company. So now I think anyone, like me and Joel say all the time, businesses are built out of, which I feel like Financielle is, out of what problem do you always want solving? You'd solved your own problem, realised like there's a lot of people like you, shared your journey, which has built a community, which shows there's a need for a business. But then it's next level going like, right, okay, we're a startup, so we haven't got, you know, tens of thousands of pounds in the bank. How do you go about building an app? Like, I'm fascinated.
Naivety is amazing. So I knew that, because I knew a little bit about tech, and I was like, this is a really simple product. This is essentially a spreadsheet. So the PDF is text. So that's just text. And the way that we built the budget, it's like a P&L. So it's different.
I love that.
And it like I was speaking to a guy, we interview customers all the time. I was speaking to a customer last week who was wonderful before we went on holiday. And he said, I've never had it explained to me that way. It's always 50, 30, 20, or, you know, or put a bit over here, or
pay yourself first, which doesn't mean anything to anyone. It doesn't mean anything
if you've not got a lot of money. And he said, when you explained it, like what comes in, what goes out, what's left, it just really helped. So then I started to search for no-code solutions, which is a real big tip for anyone thinking that they want to build an app, build a tech product. There are, like, I think Bubbles, one online place you can go and say, I want to build this. Do you have one ready done? And I'll just put my branding on it.
So it's almost like a template.
It's like a template. Right. So it's called a no-code. It means you can build an app without code. And it's literally like designing something like a Canva. So it's so easy. So I really, really tried that first because I knew how expensive tech would be. But I couldn't find anything that would do the way I wanted the budget. There's lots of budget trackers out there, but I guess you want your point of difference, and that was ours. And so I feel like, no, we're going to have to build it. And the product director that I used to work with back at my last business had always said this should be digital. I think he thought it would be more like a magazine or a blog or something.
Content driven.
But I just said to him, it's just going to be too hard, and like we can't afford to pay a developer. And he was like, you can spec something out really easily, really simple, and go on Upwork, and you will find some international developers that are much more cost effective. And so we did. And like my husband really, I mean, he worked a lot of hours at his job, but in the evenings he would help us find the right person online. He's non-technical, but he works in tech. He'd written specs for a startup for years, as had Holly's husband. We got the first version built in probably about 4 months, and it went live in the App Store October 2021. And so we put it live, and we sold it from the beginning. You know, some people put it out there and test it, and we're like, no, like we already sell this thing. It already works. We've validated it. let's get it into an app form. And it wasn't high tech.
Yeah.
I think someone told us to be extremely scrappy. Like, she was a really successful...
She was the COO of Beauty Pie.
Oh, wow.
Still canny, yeah. And she's a friend of a friend. So again, don't know how we got on a Zoom with her, but we did. And we're big Beauty Pie fans.
Yeah.
So there's a moment of like, hi, we love you. She said, be scrappy, like behind the scenes of all the big businesses. It's always scrappy. Don't think that it's perfect tech, perfect marketing. Everyone's running around like a headless chicken anyway.
Yeah.
The risk with speaking to a lot of women, especially female founders that are in a startup, Laura's always like, just get it live. And they're like, no, because I need to make sure that like my brand colours are right and that my logo's correct. And we're like if you look at our logo when we first started, you could spend so much time wasting time on things that do not matter, that don't offer value, that don't grow your business. Laura's biggest thing is like, why what are you doing? Why are you wasting your time? Why is it not live? I spoke to you 2 weeks ago, like, and I think it's a female thing. Yeah. And I think we're really lucky with the people that we've met along the way that have just pushed us to just get things live. Yeah. Like Laura's husband's really good and he's a perfectionist and he's made our product like sing. It wouldn't be live without him. We wouldn't have got here.
I'd have been like, just put it, it'll be fine. And it would have broke.
You know, there's an element of making sure that things are right and correct. And I've learned that along the way. I'm a bit too like, oh, I'll be fine. No, like things don't work and people won't come back. Yeah. So there's an element of making sure that things work properly.
Don't overthink it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of females that we've spoken to just need to get it done. Yeah. Just worry too much. Yeah. We had a really good starting point in that we built a community of people. So one thing that people need to be mindful of when they're just going to launch a product out into the universe is if you've not kind of built an audience beforehand, you're not going to get that magic first day where you like press go and then you sell out of whatever you're selling or whatever it might be. You have to build that audience.
Let's actually circle back to that then. So your community, was it purely set on Instagram? Did you have a Facebook group? Where were they all?
Just Instagram. I think we dallied in other social platforms, and I think what we'd learned early on is you've got to double down on one, and our user was there. And this thing about being obsessed with your customer is really important. You know, originally I think we thought, oh, it's female, and everyone it's all females because everyone uses money, but it really isn't. And I think we would have been a lot. If you think about some of the things we did in the early days, we'd have been a lot more quicker for doubling down on that and going, she's here, she manages money already, or she's got something going on in her life. Like, you've got to build up this persona.
You're scared to pull your demographic down because you think that means your business is going to be small.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? There's that fear of being like pinpointing an age group because you're like, oh, that means that like 75% of the population is not going to use the product. And it's like, well, of course they're not, because...
What I liked about what you said when I've been doing my research is female focused but not female exclusive. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's what I've always said with anything is possible. We're naturally attracting a female audience, but it's absolutely open to anybody, you know. But at some point you've got to, you know, narrow your marketing to speak to the person that's speaking to you, don't you, essentially? Yeah. So with it being Instagram and the community then, so they weren't talking to each other, that community, they were talking to you, would you say?
And each other in the comments. We did have a period before launching the app. We created a community off the platform on a piece of software called Mighty Networks. It was like a forum. So it wasn't, we did a Facebook group, but people weren't on Facebook, they were on Instagram, so it was kind of sending them there. But this community worked really well actually for a small period of time. Again. It was a place where people were sharing wins, sharing stories. In actual fact, what's going to be exciting is, so that then we wound down and we created a WhatsApp group. Yeah. Because we didn't want multiple platforms. So we knew when we launched the app. In fact, we still had community open in that app for a year. You could get to it from it, but you'd be taken off. But they had a safe space to talk about money with like-minded men and women, but mainly women, and people on a journey. You know, people are embarrassed sometimes to say, I'm going on a debt-free journey, or I'm managing my money. There's some really cool TikToks at the moment coming out where people are doing debt-free journeys and they're documenting it. Some really cool influencers, you know, normal ladies and girls that you don't think would talk about that. And I think they're gaining traction because it's quite a private thing to then go, I'm doing this. So they had that space. We then closed it down when we put a WhatsApp group together because it was just too many platforms. People use WhatsApp already. So for a temporary period, we knew it was fine. But one of the meetings I've done this morning before this podcast was with our developers in Thailand who are building the community. So that's going in-app. So a new feature that's going to be live soon, well, in weeks even, a couple of weeks, is going to be a community within the app. So there's going to be a safe space. And there's two reasons for that. One, we want to bring it onto the app. Like you've got to make the product sticky and valuable. In a WhatsApp group, if Meta goes down tomorrow or decides to close WhatsApp, we've suddenly lost that. But the other thing is people can't go back and search. If you join it today, you don't see the magic of all these people's wins and experiences and losses and upset. And, that's real human stories. I want you to be able to come in today and see that.
Yeah.
And the other element to it is we are now global and we never set out to be. It's funny when you build a business plan and you go, okay, we're going to do this and we're going to do England and then we might do Ireland and then we might do, I don't know, like France, say. You've got this, we'll do Europe next. It just doesn't work like that. It might do if you're building stores, or like if you were going to build like an office, you can choose where that office goes. But actually, inbound, if a Swedish company comes to you tomorrow and say, we want you to be our events company and pay you the right amount of money for it, you might suddenly have a Swedish office. Yeah. The customers dictated it.
Yeah.
So we went viral on TikTok. And I know we're jumping ahead here, but suddenly we're like, oh my God, we're American now. Like, what do we do? We have to move to New York. Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Where should we live? Can the kids come? It already it was quite overwhelming.
Yeah.
And so community, what's going to be able to happen is we don't know about American finance. We're not here to advise people on how to do a 401k, which is a pension in America. We're here to help you manage money, which is the same globally. Yeah. But actually, if you have a specific question, there might be another American that can help you with that. So with Community in-app, we're going to be able to facilitate actually people, we've got Ukrainians in the app. They might want to speak to another Ukrainian directly.
Yeah.
And we can just go, here you go.
Okay, so your community sits on Instagram, now on TikTok. Have you done anything in real life with your community, or is it purely online at the moment?
Yeah. I think there's a massive space for it. Like Laura envisaged a Financielle conference where we get people together and talk about money and just...
But in like a fun way, like loud music, smoke machines, getting people excited about money. I think Anything is Possible helped us do a little bit of that, deliver that kind of keynote, and the next keynote we do, I want like a Tony Robbins style, get your ass in gear, and I'm here to tell you this is how you do it, and that it's not going to be easy and it's tough and it's personal. So, would you really want to come to a money conference? No.
I think as well, with something like that, it's good to do while you're there. Yeah. So I think something that I think we'll probably do more with than anything is possible is actually, it's all very well listening and saying, you're going to take this workbook away and do this. If you make them do it in the moment. Yeah. And that's what Tony Robbins is amazing at. I mean, his conference is 4 days, but you do the work while you're there.
Allowing people... Firstly, women to switch off.
Yes.
Whether you're a busy worker, whether you've got a family, whatever it is, we don't switch off. I remember we were talking about the gym I'm at. Like the first workout I did, it was like a Barry's. You can't think about anything else other than workout because you're tired and it's intense and you're not thinking about your to-do list and stuff. You're just all in. Yeah. The same thing for like a in-person thing. You're doing it for you. Yeah. So you're committing that time. Yeah. The other thing is meeting like-minded people because these people have been been through divorce, death, they've lost a job, they're trying for a baby, they're overwhelmed by debt, they're embarrassed about debt, and suddenly they're in this safe space and I think we've got an obligation to provide that physical space for our community.
Yeah, definitely. And so you've built the community, and I think what's amazing about what you've done is the marketing side, because for anyone, I'm sure everyone will be going to Instagram and TikTok and app now to look at it, but it looks really nice. You use memes. I mean, so talk to us about that strategy. Has that come from both of you?
Yeah, it did come from us. I think we looked at the market and we were like, it's really boring. It's not inspirational. It's not motivating. It's not humor, like pointing. I think memes became a big thing on Instagram, where you make fun of people or even yourself. So a lot of the content that we create is based on things that we do. Yeah. So I don't know, when we used to have a credit card or in the community
WhatsApp groups.
Yeah, a lot of the content's inspired by the people that use our product. Yeah. So it's like finding your people. So if that's their struggle, it's someone else's, and it just helps to find those people. I think I just envisioned that we would have this amazing like aesthetic brand that people would want to be associated with, and you'd take pride in sharing with people. Like there's nothing better than meeting someone and be like, look at our app, isn't it amazing? But we were envisaging like billboards, like out of home advertising, like TV advertising, sponsorship at big conferences. Like I think we could just see early on that our brand should be seen by people.
Yeah.
It was going to help people, so make it fun, make it look good, make it be something that people want to be involved in.
I think what I wanted to touch about is personal brand, because you're both quite different. Like, how have you both got different opinions on personal brand?
I don't think we have different opinions. I think we have different roles. So I'm very much like, you really won't see me on a podcast. Like, this is probably the first one I've done where I've been recorded, or if not the second one. I'm very much back of house, and that's how I like it.
We've both got stuff we want to say.
Yeah.
And we've both got things we want to share. I think I tend to, because the Financielle was built on the back of my story, it's just more authentic if I continue to do it. Just as how I would like to think one of our community members could as well, because it's a methodology, and it's consistent and it doesn't change. Brand's really important. People buy from people.
Yeah.
And that is where PRs come from us. So what Holly said, we thought we needed PR early on. When you're a consumer brand, more than B2B, I think that PR is, you can't afford it, not at the rate that, PR companies deserve to charge, to be able to sustain their outgoings. And when you're a brand new startup, you shouldn't be sending money to PR, because you need to be developing the product. And quite frankly, if you can't sell your product, someone else is going to struggle. Yeah. So in those, we will, as we grow, we'll get more help. We'll probably outsource some PR, or we'll get some help. But when you're early, you have to, and I think I said this on, recently on another podcast with The Pitch, was talk about your customer, talk about your product, talk about it on LinkedIn, talk about it on Instagram, talk about your value point and your customer's problem. And if you do, publications are interested in using you as a thought leader for that and as a trusted voice.
So if somebody's starting a business now and is a B2C consumer product or tech or app, so what would be your top tips for PR? Because just for our listeners, you are now a regular contributor on TV, BBC Morning Live. So tell us how you've got from spending nothing on PR to being on national TV.
Consistently talking about personal finance in a way that's accessible. So if you think about, if you have a new fitness brand, what's different about your brand? And that's your differentiator anyway for your customers. So you should always be providing value that's directly linked to your product over and over and over again, and it's also not a straight line to BBC Morning Live. It's networking, it's building relationships. You help connect us there with your connections. That was a year ago, and then I was 8 days from giving birth, doing 13 in a row BBC interviews on the budget, and it was boring. And I don't like talking about that, because that's not relevant to my user. But I know that the end goal, there's a bigger game at play. Like, if I could get on BBC Radio and people know that I won't swear, which is really hard not to, because we swear a lot, and that I actually will even speak on something that's not quite what I would usually do, but I will do my research, it'll be proper. Then suddenly I'm on with Nikki Campbell, then Adrian Charles, and then suddenly, and Vic Hope. When I was on Radio 1 with Vic Hope, I was like, I am not cool enough to be on Radio 1. It just snowballs. So it's about contributing regularly on your personal channels, and then accepting opportunities when they come, and they're not always game changers. People think you go on Morning Live and you get 1 million downloads. I never mention Financielle. That's not why I go on. I don't go on to promote our company. It's a longer game. But if I can, it's fun to go on. I love thinking that our way of finance could make a difference. So tomorrow we're going to be doing one on pensions. Pensions is boring. But actually, we're talking about pension consolidation. So if I can put a Financielle brand twist on it and make it fun and a bit of a uplifting experience, and we can get a woman or a man that's watching that programme to take action, we've done our job.
But you do spin it, because we'll come to sort of your relationship with us, but you said to our team, are you investors? And everyone went no. And then you went, have you got a pension? So you're an investor.
I love that one.
So
it makes everyone go, maybe this is for me. Kind of piques their interest. And
I'm going to go buy a power suit because I'm an investor.
You don't have to go and do something. You're not saying to someone go and do something. It's like, no, you're already doing it. So tick that. Because people always go, I want to start investing. They've forgotten about it when I walk out the room, like I said with the tone Tony Robbins thing, but you're doing it already.
Yeah.
Okay, so it gives you a little bit of confidence.
Yeah. On the PR side of things, I think what's really interesting for probably our listeners is that, when we did the Anything is Possible conference, obviously some of the speakers were paid, some weren't. We gave people the opportunity to say, and you guys spoke, didn't charge us, but then you were in a room in front of the producer, Emma Morris of BBC Morning Live, and then you got the call to go on the show. And I think it is that thing about you've got to sometimes give to the right things to get back. And I think then it's about in business relationships, and this comes from my side, is then for people that you do give to essentially not take the piss. So you came and trained our team, which obviously we wanted to pay you for. And it's that kind of give take of building relationships with people where, at some point you're going to have to give a bit more and some points you're going to get back.
Another piece of advice to someone, like, you really have to say yes when you're starting the business.
Yes.
But then there comes a point where you have to go, we have to say yes to the right things. And the amount of time we've ummed and ahed about some things that we've done, and then they've delivered so much value, and stuff where we've gone, this is going to be amazing, it's going to make us like we're in here,
nothing.
and it does absolutely nothing. And that's just a period of learning. You have to say yes to then work out what's going to be valuable and what value you can offer people. You're not always going to get something back, and that's okay.
In like the tech world, there's a massive issue with the underfunding of female founders. That's not just the tech world, but the tech world is where big money is raised and big money is made. And it's always young white men, or like middle-aged white men who have rich connections, or they've worked in big tech startups. They've been to the right universities in America, in London. And so there's lots of people trying to look like they're helping women. So we are often asked to be the token female on a panel. And it's important to represent and to go to some of these things, and we've got some really supportive networks, tech networks in the north, that we do like to go. We will. We're doing one this week for a northern organisation. But the volume of requests we get, that's a waste of my time. If I do that panel every day this week to help lots of other people, and actually some of the times I don't enjoy them, because I kind of look at the room and going, well, none of you are going to invest in us. None of you are going to invest in another female, but you'll listen to me. We just have to, like Holly said, start to say no. And actually, one, speak to audiences that are relevant to our audience, and two, do things we like. Like, we like this. This is what we like doing. But the big thing with PR is know your value and speak about it. And if you don't know your value, why are you doing it? Why is your like dress company or candle company or tech company better or different to someone else? Because if you don't know it and you can't speak about it, why should someone buy from you? It really helps you be disciplined and articulate your value proposition.
You talk very much about how data has driven, your obsession with data has driven your community and growth. How, if you've got a community, so we might have listeners that have got like a Facebook community or an Instagram, as you had, how are we extracting data from that, like, to be able to make decisions?
Data's massive, and it can be a little overwhelming. And there's a bit of data that we won't talk about, which is the data we're collecting in the app all the time, because it's all anonymized, but the numbers was really important to us from the start. Like, our ultimate goal is to increase the net worth of everyone. So it's really important for us to get as many people as possible to complete their budgets or their net worth tracker or their debts, because we can aggregate it all up and say, I guess, like a calorie counting or a weight loss thing or a miles run on Strava. That's community data. So there's one side to it which is like valuable data, knowing this is working for people because these numbers are going in the right direction. The other data is you have to be data focused, and you can start small, because how do you know you're working the right numbers? So KPIs. Paid subscribers is our like North Star metric, because if they're paying us, we're making money as a business, and we are delivering value. So there's two things there. So there's little ones like churn and stuff, but that's for the product side. So knowing in your business what number do you want to move, and picking one of them. And then
doubling down on it
as a small business, probably. How do we move that number?
Absolutely. Everyone focus and double down on that, because there's so much data out there and so much that we could be looking at, and our heads have been turned in the past by like, oh, we need to improve this number and this one and this one and this one. Well, as a team of 3, that's never going to happen.
So if you think paid subscribers is our North Star and we want to increase it, we sit around as a team and go, okay, what can we do to move that number? So then you go the next layer down and you go, okay, where do our downloads come from? Because getting more users and then later you work at converting them will help drive that number. And so then we come to social data. So we look at channel, so which channel works, and for a long time it was Instagram.
Yeah.
And we tried TikTok and we were just like, it's not delivering the numbers. And that's why you look at the data, because you can look at it's called attribution, is what we learned not that long ago, really. It's probably a year ago. And attribution is, where did the users come from? So we had a big spike. Why?
Yeah.
Always ask why, because if you don't know, you could go, right, we're going to go set up a Pinterest page. And and no one's coming from there, but something happened that day. What happened? And when we spoke to a couple of other business owners, female consumer businesses, amazing, and they said, you've just got to keep trying at TikTok. You're not trying properly, because we kept going, it's rubbish, it's not good for us. Like, it must be for product businesses. We kept saying that, didn't we?
We just kept dabbling, and then doing we're really experiment driven in our business.
Oh yeah.
So we're big on growth experiments. So like Laura said when she was saying, first step is, where are the downloads coming from, and then find out where they're from, and then really doubling down on that. When we say that, we mean we're doing experiments all the time to see how we can do it again. How can we get that effect again?
So we thought Instagram was the winner, right? Yeah. What's happened with Instagram recently is it's really hard to grow. Virality is really difficult there. So for loyalty, it's great because our users are there. Yeah. But for new people, our numbers just don't move. Like, it's really hard to grow now on Instagram. And if other people are feeling that, don't feel like it's you. It's just really hard to be discoverable. So then when we decided to do an experiment, which was TikTok once a day, on genuine problems that we're seeing in our app, in our WhatsApp group. So like Holly said, user problems. Let's create content around that, but let's go all in. So Lucy, our amazing content creator, was given the space and the freedom within that remit of use our customer problems. Just go on TikTok. You're not going to mess up. We're not going to expect 1 million download, 1 million views. Just don't worry. That was our experiment. And it was slow, viral.
Wow.
And if we hadn't have, and we thought Instagram was good, Instagram does not send us downloads now. We do it because we like it. It was our home. Our users are there. Some of them, all the attention's on TikTok now.
Wow.
I mean, sharing numbers, I think did we have a 10,000 day?
Yeah.
Recently? 10,000 downloads in a day.
Oh, wow. On the app?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'd not had 10,000 in total at that point.
Wow.
Prior to that point. So then you sit there and go, okay, why?
Yeah.
What was it about that one? Was it the sound that we used, the trend at the time, the content? What was it? Oh, let's just do more of that. Most people will have heard on YouTube of Mr. Beast. So Mr. Beast is this YouTuber who I think he got offered $1 billion for his channel and he was like, nope. Like he just earned so much money from it. When you listen to interviews with him about his content creation, he is like, he would pay $5,000 for a good, what's it called, the front screen thumbnail. Like, he knows the ones that work, the ones that don't. So when you layer all these things on, what does the thumbnail look like? What does the caption say? Which captions work best? At what point did they drop off in the video? Why did they drop off in the video? It's actually trying really hard and getting better at the thing you're doing, like taking pride in it. So not just whacking a video out there, which honestly we still do and we have done, but it works best when you use the data to learn from it. And it's
create a formula.
Yeah,
it's a circle, it's a cycle, and you just all these little increments all add up, and then a platform like TikTok, if it works, it flies. It really
rewards you. Do you like Instagram? You try so hard creating amazing content. Like your content is so good.
Yeah.
It should be seen by millions of people. And unfortunately, they've messed around with the algorithm so much, trying to replicate a TikTok or whatever it might be. And I feel like they've kind of like punished really good content creators.
Yeah. And so, in your team now, who's in your team now?
Not enough people.
Yeah. Because I'm listening to you, all the things that you're doing, and I'm like, how the hell are you doing all that? And I think it so well.
I think what's important to remember as well is tech is really expensive. You need cash to build a product.
Yes.
So it's, bootstrapping in tech is incredibly difficult. It really is. Unless you are a developer and you can code, you need investment or you need cash to build the early product, and then you get sales in. But our sales are still low in value because it's a consumer product. If we were selling a tech platform to a business for like 10 grand a month, you can understand how you do it. But what the industry does is it raises money. You sell a bit of equity, like on Dragon's Den. You sell 10%, 20%, 30% for a load of cash, and use that cash and you use it to build, and that'll last you 12 months or 24 months. And by that point, you probably have to raise again, and you raise again. And that's where we've done a little bit of it. We've not gone all in as much as other people have.
I feel like the day we decided to raise money was the day that we were like, have we failed at this? Because we thought we could do it on our own. And
so
it was
just to be clear, you bootstrapped it. And what did you use? Was it the funds from the ebook? Did you use your own personal funds?
We've never. So I sold a Chanel handbag and a Celine handbag.
I keep telling Joel they hold their value.
Absolutely do.
And I sold them, probably for not enough, early on to pay for a designer and a website to design the PDF up to look impressive and a website. So I said that. So that's the only money. So like a couple of £1,000 has gone into this business initially from us. Like
the irony of that the Chanel bag that you probably bought when you were a lawyer is like actually built the website.
Celine I bought in Paris. I remember the day, and it was just like, do you know, it was the one that Kim Kardashian had. So probably a couple 2 to 4K is probably what we've put in. What you realise is when it comes to consumer, you need scale.
Yeah.
So I think I was talking earlier about how this happens is you take on investment because the idea is you grow the business that big that there's an exit event later where someone buys the business off you or buys some of it, and then the investors and you have cash. So that's how investing works. That's why in tech people raise money. When you hear about all these raises, you think, why are they raising 2-3 million? It's because they want to sell for 100.
Yeah.
So that's why the maths works. Because I used to think, they raised 3 million. How do they pay that back? Like, that's a lot of money.
So this is what, because we've never had investment, and I've always been like, I don't get it. Like, if it, so I get where your head was at. Like,
and we decided this thing. So we launched the app in the App Store, and it had been going so well for a couple of months, but the revenue's so low. So we could have gone, we're not making a lot of money, let's stop this business. But what you understand is you need scale. And if you have a lot of people spending $23.99, and maybe later you could do extra products, we've not talked about that, and I don't think we will, but we could make money at this. Actually, this is a viable business, and it's a viable business that could make someone else money as well. So let's take angel investment. So we took, a few £100,000, a lot less than our competitors and a lot less than other tech businesses. I think we've still got that northern bootstrap mentality.
Yeah,
like
And
stubborn.
like female, we can do it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah. We'll take it all on.
Yeah.
That helps you. It's called seed money.
Yeah.
It seeds the business. And so a lot of big businesses wouldn't happen without investment because you don't make the break-even point a lot further in the future. In fact, a lot of big tech businesses don't break even, and people buy them for different reasons. So when you come back to team, we were so small because we don't make a lot of money. It starts to grow though. It's compounding.
Yeah.
If you think about it, users stay with us, more users come in, they pay, more users come in, they pay. And so we would love to have a bigger team, but we split it up into contractors and fractionals, so buying some pieces of people's time. It's a really good tip actually for people that want to scale and grow a business, but you don't want to start handing out, 50 grand salaries, 60 grand salaries because revenue's low. You can buy pieces of people's time. I'm not even talking about consultants or coaches. There's really good senior doers that go, you can have a day a week of my time.
One comment, it sounds really obvious, and I'm definitely going to share it with people because it's so obvious. When we were doing really well on TikTok and doing the experiments, and we were doing one post a day, our fractional CMO was like, why don't you do 2? And we're like, shit.
Yeah, that was an idea. Yeah.
Seriously, because you're doubling your
Honest to
opportunity.
God.
Yeah.
It's so, when he said it, I felt like the most stupidest person in the world. He was like, why don't...
So he earned his money that day because we did 2.
Yeah.
And
it
then
worked.
we've got double the opportunity of hitting a viral video. And we were like, Jesus Christ, your head's in the business and you're doing all these things. And sometimes it pays. Like, we were really stubborn. Like Laura said, at first we were just like, we're not paying for that. We can do this. We can do this. And that self-belief all the way through has really helped us. And the naivety and all those things, but actually sometimes getting the expertise of someone like some of our investors and our angel investors adds so much value.
Shortcuts.
Shortcuts.
A lot of this as well is about pace. So, I get frustrated when I see female business owners moving too slow. And like we said before, like there's a designing the logo before they've made a sale.
Yeah.
And I think there's a bit of reluctance to put yourself out there, a bit of reluctance to make sure you want it right. What's important for us is pace. If you think about it, we need to grow and grow and grow and grow to get our revenues in a place where this is a large business. Help. And that's a good point as well. I think you've mentioned it before. We want to help millions of people. our product works. So why shouldn't our product be in the hands of people in the Philippines and people in Austria and, you know, thousands of people in the UK? Because the more people that hold it in their hand, the more people we're helping. So raising money helps us do that.
Yeah.
You know, we will raise again. We'll raise again in the future because it'll allow us to get more people in the team to reach more people.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's all this, a bit of a pattern.
What is the state of the business today? So the app was released in October 21. How many subscribers do you have? How many followers do you have across all the platforms? Where are we at this moment in time?
So we're probably hitting 70,000 downloads,
Wow.
which is a number that, you know, initially we got a 400 month, we'd be like, oh my God, 400 people,
amazing,
you know,
yeah.
and if I think about, is that like a Taylor Swift concert? If you think
Yeah.
about how many people that is that have the app.
Yeah.
And we're...
That's what I mean. You guys just relate it back to like
Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And, you know, probably like looking at 5,000 paying users.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's massive to have 5,000
Yeah.
paying users that hand over that money to you
Yeah.
every month. That, you know, we're telling people to stop spending money, but they spend it on us.
Yeah.
So real oxymoron. Imagine trying to convince someone to cut the subscriptions, but not to cut the financial subscription.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's the big goal for us, because we're not far off, genuinely. We could probably run the business without investment.
Yeah,
So, but
that's
to grow more
amazing.
quickly, we will probably take on investment. You know, we've got a goal to turn over $1 million a year, and
Yeah.
that's the next big goal that we have to chase after. It's kind of a big point for a business to know that this is sustainable as a business.
Yeah.
But the really big thing about tech, but I would really encourage regular business owners as well outside of the world of tech to do this, is look at your pace of growth.
Mm-hmm.
So pace is really important for us to know that if you think money in the stock market grows 9% roughly year on year, there's downs and ups, but so, and inflation's running at about 9%, you need to be growing at 9% just to stay the same.
Mm-hmm.
So really being able to grow like 10% month on month is like, or 5% month on month is a really good goal to look at doing, because you can start small, but you know, don't stay the same. Like, you'll have ups and downs, you'll have COVID years, you'll have boom years, but trying to look at how you can set these mini goals for yourself and your team, and then work towards those and pat yourself on the back once a month, because we do that. We have a monthly review and go, didn't we do well this month?
Yeah. And so, how do you, so going back to you as individuals, you're a mum of 3, you're a mum 2. How do you organise your days? Because there's so much you're looking after.
We have really supportive and practically supportive husbands. So it really annoys me when I see the woman doing the bulk of the childcare. It comes out a lot in our content, because when you look at finance gaps, women are paid less and they have take more time off with the children, but then when they come back part-time, sometimes on their terms, but sometimes not. Sometimes it's nursery's unaffordable and
They weren't the breadwinner, so if the one person's going to stop working, it's the person that earns less, so that's generally the woman. So then she doesn't get the opportunity to progress in her career, so therefore she's never going to make that up. And then there's a big sandwich generation whereby they'll finish work early to look after elderly parents over their partner, because again, they earn less. So
we have to have really organised calendars. We carve out time for exercise, which gives us the energy to keep going. And we will work in the evenings when the children are asleep. But calendars are everything, and there's still not enough time. I think also focus on the right things. So we've got better at knowing what drives a number. Again, coming back to the KPI, you can be busy fools. I've got loads of random stuff I could fill my day with, and I'm sure you're the same. So making sure that the stuff in the calendar are things that move that number helps to know, okay, we're on the right track. We have like a board meeting once a quarter with our investors, and we do a monthly update to our investors. We don't need to, but we like doing it, and it's really helpful. I always think, what do I want to put in? Say at the beginning of the month, what do I want to put in that? Because we say some of the numbers that we hit, but we also say some of the nice things like BBC Morning Live, or we did a charity thing, or we had a viral TikTok and here it is. You know, they must get some really boring updates. So we want ours to be very financial. So it's got emojis and it's not a report like it's on Notion. It's very aesthetic, and we want to say what we've done that month actually made a difference. So sometimes looking ahead to go, what do we want to say in that one? What's going to be, let's make sure what we're doing reflects that. So it's really busy, but using tools, working remotely, coming into an office, all those things help to come to it being a well-oiled machine. Like Holly says, our next challenge will be scaling the team and being able to keep that momentum.
like we all have our Achilles heel, our thing that like can knock us off track or can affect our self-esteem. When I meet you two, I'm like, oh my God, I just feel like I learn so much off you every time, and I go away thinking, why didn't I think of that? Why am I not doing that? They just know everything. But what would you say is the thing you have to, in and outside of work, either you have to really work hard on to keep in check? Maybe start with you, Holly.
Prioritization, probably. Sometimes I'm guilty of not giving myself enough time to do things, and like busy family, like 2 young kids, 2 boys, boisterous, drain the energy. Like they give the energy, but they also drain the energy. So sometimes I don't prioritize things like making sure that I do like meditation, or like I should be really good at doing like gratitude, like writing 3 things a day that went really well. I can sometimes focus on the negative because it's life. So I find life quite difficult with 2 young kids and then running a business. So
what about you?
I just have a very busy mind as well. And I think there's so much in my head. There's a lot of things going around at the moment about ADHD and the different levels of it, and actually there's a big thing in the founder and tech world that most business owners probably have an element of it. Big picture, and then I've not got and then I've not got the energy, or then I'm distracted, and so I'm what I'm upset about sometimes is there's a really good creative idea or thing, and I've nowhere to drop it. Sometimes I'll just send it to Holly and she'll just handle it for me and put it somewhere because I'm on the go all the time. And again, with kids, it's very, you're juggling all the time, and you're juggling a house and a family. So I think I probably don't delegate well enough to the team, or maybe have that like virtual assistant, or like AI assistant, whatever it is. And I'm working on that. I've been asking some of the other female founders, like, what do you do with tasks that you need to do, ideas you have, and then the ability to prioritize them and do them. I just worry we leave stuff on the table. I don't want to leave a stone unturned. So when you say like, you've got lots of ideas and you like talking to us, those are like brewing all the time.
Where can people find Financielle, first of all?
The App Store. You'll search for Financielle and no one else comes up because we've got a name like no one else. So follow us on Instagram and TikTok as well, and we'll at least give you those regular reminders to take back control of your money, and you'll see hopefully our business grow.
So as we close the podcast, the question I ask everybody is, please tell me, what does anything is possible mean to you?
I think we've kind of just covered it in here. We've come from a place, no technical experience, very little money, very little knowledge. But we've created a global business that's changing people's lives. So I think we are the epitome of anything is possible.
And it means just trying. So don't begin with the end in mind, but be brave enough to fail, because like Holly said at the beginning, if we knew what it would have taken, we probably wouldn't have done it. So I think feel the fear and do it anyway is a great phrase, because anything is possible. We did not know we were going to be here, and who knows we're going to be in 5 years' time. But if you sit on the fence, I remember the Twitter handle 2016. Left it too long. So just do, and you'll find out what's possible.
Just do it. Well, girls, you continue to inspire me. I'm so glad you're part of our family here, and thank you so much in your busy schedules for joining the podcast.
Thank you for having us.